It starts with a small favor, a ride to the airport, a little money to help them get by, a text asking if they can crash at your place for just a few days. And because it's your sister, your cousin, your childhood friend, you say yes. Love feels like a duty, and saying no, that feels cold. But then the asks keep coming. They want a job referral, even though they're not qualified. They need you to co-sign a loan you know they won't repay. They're in trouble again. This time it's serious, and you're the one they call to fix it. And you do, because that's what good people do, right? No one tells you that good often becomes gullible. That family can be your biggest weakness. That love can blind you, bind you, and ultimately burn you. Machiavelli did. Niccolo Machiavelli, the man many call cold, ruthless, and even manipulative, wasn't trying to turn people into monsters. He was trying to teach them how to survive. His message, buried beneath centuries of misinterpretation, was simple. If you want to remain in control of your life, your position, your peace, you must learn to be cold-blooded when it matters most. And sometimes when it comes to your loved ones, it matters most. You think betrayal only comes from enemies, but your enemies don't expect your trust. It's those closest to you who can get closest to your weaknesses. They know your soft spots. They speak your language. They know exactly what string to pull. And worst of all, they don't see it as a betrayal. They see it as an entitlement. Because you love them, right? That's where people fall. They let guilt override logic. They mistake enabling for compassion. They tell themselves they're being noble, when really they're being used. Machiavelli would say this: "He who builds on the people builds on mud." He meant that relying on emotion, public approval, or familial loyalty is like building your future on something that can slip, shift, or sink at any moment. It's not stable, it's not solid, and it will never protect you. Let's be clear, this isn't a call to hate your family or to cut off every friend who asks for help. It's about becoming strategic, selective, emotionally disciplined. That means you don't let love talk you into bad decisions. You don't let someone guilt you into risking your reputation for their mistakes. You don't lend money you can't afford to lose. You don't silence your instincts just to keep the peace. Because peace isn't free. It comes at a cost. And often that cost is you. Machiavelli didn't see love as a weakness, but he did see it as a tool others use to manipulate. In his world, the wise leader acts with compassion only when it serves a greater purpose. Not constantly, not blindly, not just because they care. If you give too much of yourself away to those closest to you, what's left for you? What's left to build your future, to protect your mental health, to maintain your dignity? Being cold-blooded doesn't mean being heartless. It means being unshakable when it counts. The most cold-blooded thing you can say to someone you love? Number. No, I can't lend you money. No, I won't lie to you. No, I won't put my future on the line to clean up your mess. Saying no is an act of strength, especially when it's hard, especially when they push, especially when they cry, because you know what's really at stake. You know what giving in would cost you. And most of the time, when you say no, they survive. They adjust. They find someone else. They figure it out. And suddenly you see the truth. They never needed you. They just expected you. That's when you realize your silence, your resources, your obedience, it was never love. It was control. Machiavelli famously asked, "Is it better to be loved or feared?" The misunderstood answer: both if possible. But if you must choose, choose fear. Why? Because fear creates boundaries. It protects your peace. It keeps people from taking liberties with your time, your energy, and your name. Love, unchecked, invites invasion. It invites people to test your limits. Fear, respect, caution, the awareness that you are not to be played with, that keeps those limits in place. If your loved ones only respect you when you're useful, then they don't love you. They love what you do for them. If the moment you say no, they call you selfish. They guilt trip you. They lash out. That's not love either. That's emotional blackmail in the language of affection. And that's when you must become cold-blooded. You don't argue. You don't defend. You don't fight to be understood. You simply decide, I no longer allow access to people who treat my love as currency. Guard your time ruthlessly. Time is your most valuable asset. Don't give it to people who waste it or drain you. Keep boundaries sacred, even with family. Be kind but calculated. Help when you can, but never when it compromises your peace, safety, or long-term goals. Compassion isn't a weakness, but it must have limits. Master the art of silence. You don't owe explanations for every no. Let your boundaries speak for themselves. The more you explain, the more they try to negotiate. Play the long game. Sometimes refusing someone now saves you years of resentment later. Think beyond the moment. What's best for the whole picture? Expect pushback and don't flinch. People will react badly when you stop being easy to use. That doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you were a convenience, and now you're not. There's a dangerous myth that family must be forgiven, no matter what. That blood absolves betrayal. That history outweighs the hurt. But Machiavellian wisdom teaches us otherwise. Relationships are not above consequences. Blood ties are not free passes. Loyalty should be earned, not assumed. Cold-bloodedness doesn't mean you turn your back on everyone. It doesn't mean you become cruel or detached or incapable of love. What it means is that you begin to see clearly, to protect your spine when the knife gets close, no matter who's holding it. It means you stop letting nostalgia, guilt, and the weight of shared blood excuse behavior that hurts you. You stop justifying emotional abuse with phrases like, "but they're family," or "that's just how they are." It's about realizing that some people survive, thrive even, by draining others. And the easiest people to drain? The ones who care deeply, the ones who hesitate to say no, the ones who confuse sacrifice with loyalty. These are the ones most often targeted, not by enemies, but by those closest to them. And it's rarely obvious at first. It's subtle. It comes in the form of guilt trips, emotional manipulation, or small favors that add up to a life slowly being hijacked. Cold-bloodedness is not about rejecting love. It's about refusing to be imprisoned by it. It's about knowing when love becomes a leash and cutting it. It's recognizing when someone's presence in your life costs more than it gives. And yes, sometimes those people share your blood, your childhood, your memories. But none of that gives them a license to exploit your kindness. Protecting yourself is not a betrayal. It's not selfishness. It's intelligence. It's strategy. It's survival. And when you choose to live with clarity instead of guilt, boundaries instead of blind loyalty, you're not turning cold. You're finally warming up to your own worth. Because being endlessly forgiving doesn't make you noble. It makes you vulnerable. Cold-bloodedness, when used wisely, simply means you've learned to choose yourself first. You don't need to become cruel. You don't need to become manipulative. But you do need to become clear about who you are, what you value, and what you will no longer allow. Machiavelli wasn't telling us to become monsters. He was warning us to never hand power to those who don't have our best interests at heart. Even if they share your last name, being cold-blooded means leading with clarity, not guilt. It means keeping your hands clean, even when your heart is conflicted. It means choosing long-term self-respect over short-term approval. So next time the favor feels like a trap, next time love demands a price too high, next time someone says, "but we're family," as they ask you to sacrifice your dignity, pause, breathe. Remember, even a prince must learn to protect his throne from those closest to it. And you're not cold. You're just awake.